Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudírayet. Jai Gurudev, sorry for keeping all of you waiting. It took me some time to shift onto the computer. So we stopped here yesterday where when there is no doer, there is no action. So here we were talking yesterday, we saw understanding reality requires thinking. How just having an intellect is not enough, but utilizing it. Otherwise, you'll end up being a kripana, right? So similarly, real thinking is thinking about realities because you're dealing with reality. There must be thinking. Otherwise, you are dealing only with shadows. If the realities are not known, you may be fighting in areas where no fighting is required. One who thinks about the fundamental reality of himself, the world, and God, who knows what it is all about, is a buddhiman. So, this fighting in areas where no fighting is required. The actual Mahabharata is happening inside our mind. Whereas what we do, we end up fighting with people outside, situations outside. But what is required is internal processing. I wouldn't call it fighting, but internal reflection, understanding. So, this person is rich, he or she has an intellect to use and to spare. The Buddhiman has used the Buddhi for himself or herself and shares the knowledge gained with others. Thus, in this verse, Krishna is saying that among the people, all of whom have buddhis, this person is the only one who is wise. Saha buddhiman manushyeshu. Just as some people have money without being rich, some people have buddhis without being wise. The buddhiman, however, is a yogi, a kritsna karma krit, one who has done all that is to be done. By discovering the Atma to be akarta, the wise person has completely destroyed all the karmas. The self being full, purna, there is nothing more for this person to do at any time. The self as akarta is not a sometime affair. Once the self is known to be akarta, it will never become karta again. When we say Atma is asanga, we mean that it is free from being a karta and bhokta, which means it is free from sukha and dukkha, samsara. And you can attach papa, punya, and all the dualities to that. When it is said that Atma is always Ananda, it means that Atma is Purna, full, limitless. This knowledge makes a person a kritsna karma krit. Everything that is to be done has been done in one stroke. Nothing needs to be done for the person to be happy. Whatever karmas the person had to fulfill by taking many births have all been fulfilled. All karma has been completely taken care of. Any activity he or she undertakes later is born of joy, not for gaining some security and happiness. The person may continue to do the same thing he or she did before. What one does not alter the fact that one is a karta. As long as there is a doer, a karta, there is action, even in so-called inaction. A wise person, a buddhiman, is able to see this. Because I am not doing anything also implies a karta. Both karma and akarma become karma in the vision of the wise. Wherever there is doership, there is always some action or the other. Therefore, everything becomes action, be it action or inaction. So, I am doing something, I am not doing something. Both become karma. Why? Because there is doership. So, therefore, a buddhiman is able to see this, is able to see that I am not doing anything also implies a karta. And therefore, both karma and akarma become karma in the vision of the wise. The buddhiman is also able to see akarma in both karma and akarma because for such a person, there is no doership in the self. Atmani kartritva abhava. He or she knows that while karta, the doer, is non-separate from the self is not the doer. Because the person has this knowledge, he or she is said to be wise among human beings and is described as one who has done everything that is to be done without exception. Saha buddhiman manusheshu saha kritsna karma krit. So there are two aspects, right? One, the last two paragraphs. One is the aspect that the buddhiman sees karma in both karma and akarma, action and inaction. From where? From the standpoint of doership. But from the standpoint of non-doership, he sees akarma in both karma and akarma. And because he has realized the self, which is purna, which is full, ananda, limitless ananda, there is nothing left for him to do. All the karma is as though burnt out. The sanchita is burnt out. Prarabdha, of course, he has to complete his whatever prarabdha he's born with. So therefore, he is kritsna karma krit. He has done all that is to be done. When there is no doer, there is no action. When there is no kartritva in the Atma, what karma is there for the person to do? If I am not the karta, how can I perform action? If all four Vedas enjoin, even if all four Vedas enjoin me, if they say, oh karta, please do this ritual, I can only respond if I am the karta. When someone says, John, please come here, only John will come, no one else. Just as an individual is being addressed here, so too the Vedas also address the individual. O person, please do these karmas. Karma kuru. So the Vedas address whom? The Vedas address the karta. And who is the person the Vedas are addressing? Is it the Satchit Ananda Atma or the karta? They are definitely addressing the karta. And what happens if there is no karta? There is no response. A wise person does not respond because he is not a karta. Only when there is a karta, a doer, does the addressing of the Vedas have an effect. Otherwise, it is useless. The enjoined karmas are also useless because they are all as well done for the kritsna karma krit. Even karma yoga no longer applies to the wise person. So this is clear, right? So the Vedas are addressing the karta. So the whole karma kanda part of the Vedas, the first part of the Vedas, with all the rituals included, is addressing the karta alone. It is not addressing Satchit Ananda Atma. Because Satchit Ananda Atma is full, is akarta, abhokta. There is no karma yoga for the jnani. Anyone wants to say, add, share, you can stop in between and let me. There is no karma yoga for the jnani. A karma yogi is one who takes care of his or her raga dveshas, likes and dislikes, by doing what is to be done with a proper attitude towards the actions and also towards their results. The Vedas address both the karma yogi and the person who performs action strictly to accomplish certain desirable ends, because both of them have kartritva, doership. Only the jnani, the one who sees inaction, is not addressed by the Vedas, because such a person sees Atma as akarta, the non-performer of action. If I am the non-performer of action, any enjoining done by the Vedas or anything else does not come to me at all. Therefore, whatever was to be done before is all over. I am a kritsna karma krit. There is nothing more for me to do. And anything that was to be done later is also taken care of. Before knowledge, all actions are meant for me, for my sukha, my happiness. I want some cheerfulness, some tranquility, antakarana shuddhi. Then, with such a mind, I can achieve self-knowledge, which is seeing non-action in action. Karmani akarma darshanam. To see non-action in action is to understand that I am a karta, a non-doer. Thus, for the sake of self-knowledge alone, I perform all the karmas that are to be done by me. I will read this paragraph again. So, before knowledge, all actions are meant for me. Because before knowledge, you one is an one is a karta. For my sukha, my happiness. I want some cheerfulness, some tranquility, antakarana shuddhi. Then, with such a mind, I can achieve self-knowledge, which is seeing non-action in action. Karmani akarma darshanam. So the whole para is about there is no karma yoga for the jnani. So I can achieve self-knowledge, which is seeing non-action in action. Karmani akarma darshanam. When one has the antakarana shuddhi. To see non-action in action is to understand that I am a karta, a non-doer. Thus, for the sake of self-knowledge alone, I perform all the karmas that are to be done by me. Even a kami, one who is not interested in self-knowledge, but just wants to fulfill certain desires, has to perform certain actions which are meant for the kami, the one who has desires. Because the person feels inadequate, he or she has certain desires that necessitate the performance of action. Suppose, however, you understand that the self is not inadequate, that it is adequate or more than adequate, then there is no desire for action. In fact, because the self is full, words like adequate and inadequate do not even come into the picture. Therefore, for the person who knows this, there is nothing to be done. Karyam karma na vidyate. When the mind, meaning the ahankara or the ego, is resolved in the Atma, there is nothing for the person to do. In the wake of knowledge, ahankara, the I notion, the karta, is resolved in the Atma, and there is no longer any question of Atma being the karta. When there is no karta, there is nothing to be done, which is why the person is called Kritsna Karma Krit. He or she has done everything that is to be done in the past as well as in the future. The wise person's will has served its purpose. So let's do some manana on this. Do you want me to repeat any paragraph? So there is no karma yoga for the jnani. Why? Because his antakarana is already full. He has realized that it is Satchidananda. But as long as I am a karta, I do not have the self-knowledge. In order to gain the self-knowledge, one needs to cleanse the mind. And therefore, for all the non-jnanis, jnani does not require karma yoga. For all those who are ajnanis, still need to perform karma. And if self-knowledge is what is the goal, then karma yoga is necessary. Like in the second chapter, there is a verse that says, what is the use of a well when there is flood everywhere? There is water everywhere. What is the use of a well? Yadate moha kalilam. I don't remember the exact verse. Let me just read that verse.
There's some Pluto that gives.
Yeah. Tatha gantasi nirvedam. Wait a second. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipashchitah vedavadarata partha nanyadastiti vadinah kamatmana swargapara janma karma phalapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishwarya gatin prati. The verse is Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. So just like how a little pond of water does not make any difference to it is insignificant for a person who sees there is water everywhere. Similarly, a jnani sees is not sees, he is Satchidananda, his fullness, complete fullness, and limitless Ananda. So for him, what does karma mean? Karma here is like a little well for him. Right? Just give me a second. We can do some manana on this before we go on to the next section. And for this person who is a jnani, he doesn't even have desires because he is full. Desire comes when you feel inadequate, incomplete. And therefore, there is this desire that comes up that says, I want to be complete. So even a kami who is not interested in self-knowledge, but just wants to fulfill certain desires, has to perform certain actions which are meant for the kami, the one who has desires. Because the person feels inadequate, he or she has certain desires that necessitate the performance of action. Suppose, however, you understand that the self is not inadequate, that it is adequate or more than adequate, then there is no desire for action. In fact, because the self is full, words like adequate and inadequate do not even come into the picture. Therefore, for the person who knows this, there is nothing to be done. Karyam karma navidyate. When the mind, meaning the ahankara or the ego, is resolved in the atma, there is nothing for the person to do. In the wake of knowledge, ahankara, the I notion, the karta, is resolved in the atma, and there is no longer any question of atma being the karta. When there is no karta, there is nothing to be done, which is why the person is called kritsna karma krit. He or she has done everything that is to be done in the past as well as in the future. The wise person's will has served its purpose. This person for whom there is nothing to be done is a jnani, a wise person. Because there is nothing to be done for such a person, he or she is free to do a lot of things. When there is nothing to be done, what is there that is not to be done? There is no mandate for a jnani enjoining him to do any particular action or prohibiting him from doing any particular action. His or her job is over. Hereafter, the person's will has no place at all. Whatever will the person had before the knowledge took place has been successfully used up, having served its purpose. I will read this para again. So here the will is, we're talking of the free will. The person's free will has served its purpose. This person for whom there is nothing to be done is a jnani, a wise person. Because there is nothing to be done for such a person, he or she is free to do a lot of things. When there is nothing to be done, what is there that is not to be done?
Today is a living example. No. Wow.
Yeah. There is no mandate for a jnani enjoining him to do any particular action or prohibiting him from doing any particular action. His or her job is over. Hereafter, the person's will has no place at all. Whatever will the person had before the knowledge took place has been successfully used up, having served its purpose. This is why sannyasis do not leave wills when they die. They have no will to leave a will. Only when will is there can there be a will. Sometimes, if the sannyasi has many disciples, not leaving a will can cause problems as to who is to succeed him or her and so on. Whereas, if he or she is a traditional sannyasi, a parampara sannyasi, and the disciples have been taught well, there will be no problem. There will be no vying for the sannyasi seat because there is no seat. There is no organization for a seat to be there. Each disciple is the seat, in fact. In the Hindu tradition, Vaidika karma, there is no organization or hierarchical structure, no papacy, diocese, parish, or congregation. Dharma, of course, has no organization, and in that dharma, there is a person, a sannyasi, who also has no organization. The very word sannyasi means that the person just lives with only the sky above him or her. The person is the only organization that is there. And if he has any disciples, every disciple there may be is an organization. This is how the parampara, the tradition is. The sannyasi does not even need the text of the Upanishads or the Gita. Everything is in the form of understanding within the person's head. There is no organizational head other than this head, and there is no organization other than this. That is why even the art of living, although it is called an organization, foundation, and all that, actually it is a principle. It is a movement. It is not an organization, inverted commas, like every other organization. Because see, everyone he who carries this knowledge is an organization himself or herself. So therefore, there is no head required, so to say. Of course, in the framework of the organization, we need someone to hold the reins and then to do certain things. That apart, when you look at as and when people realize themselves that self-knowledge is there, each one becomes a head, so to say, because they attain that fulfillment. So therefore, a sannyasi has no will and actual will as well. He does not leave a will.
And he has not left all these things for, for local Kalyan ke liye he has left all this. Not for his legacy or something.
Yeah, that is one aspect. So there is no Purushartha left, and the Purushartha does not have any meaning for him. When he is left, when he is so complete and fulfilled, there is no, and he is in that state of pure bliss, Purnatva, where there's no action happening. He may be acting, that is different, but he has come from, everything is in his head. That is, he is jnanena sarva karma sannyasi. He may be doing a lot of things, but for him, he comes from the space of being a karta and a bhokta. So there were some terms that I don't know the meanings of. Papacy is, I think, like the papal, like the Pope. 1 second, let me just check the meanings. Papacy refers to the office, authority, and system of government of the Pope, the supreme leader of the Roman Catholic Church. It also describes the duration of a specific pope's reign or the unbroken historical lineage of the popes. That is papacy. And what is diocese? Says is a defined geographical district or territory within a Christian church, such as the Roman Catholic, Anglican, or Eastern Orthodox churches, that is under the pastoral care and authority of a bishop. So it's like a subdivision. Okay. And parish. Parish also might be the same, almost the same. So basically, what Swamiji is trying to mention here is that there is no hierarchical order. A parish typically refers to a local territorial division within a Christian church served by its own priest or minister. Yeah, so on and so forth. So that is why we don't have in Sanatana Dharma, you cannot say this is the head. Vedas are apaurusheyam. There is no author for the Vedas. They're only put together. This was knowledge that was revealed to the rishis in the seat of contemplation. And they were just codified, they were just classified by Veda Vyasa. So you cannot say this person authored it. So at the same time, we have it is as though we have the heads, but actually there are none.
Unanimously, after the chief leaves the body, unanimously it happens. The next person takes over.
Yeah, well, in the modern context, because see, I don't honestly know what happened when Satya Sai Baba passed on. What was on the surface was that there was a lot of, you know, vying for the seat. I would not be right in saying this because this is what I heard and I don't know the actual truth. But when you look at the Chinmaya mission, it's a seamless thing. Like Swami Tejomayananda took on after Swami Chinmayananda attained Samadhi. And then he himself voluntarily uh, handed the baton over to Swami Tejomayananda. Sorry, Swami Swarupananda. Because he wanted to pursue, he wanted to just be there and not take any of these organizational responsibilities.
Administrative work and all, they're not.
Yeah. He just wanted to stay more in self-knowledge. And so I think
But it is said when they have nothing to do, they means they have to do many things. When they are
when there is nothing to do, there is nothing,
they
there is
have
also
to
no
many
restriction
things to do.
on what he can
Sorry.
do, isn't it? So he is as though free to do anything. There are no strict do's and don'ts for them. See, there is no karma yoga, first of all, for a jnani, right? So, whereas for a karma yogi, there are things to be done and not to be done. Very simply put, at the level of the mind, if one is a karma yogi, he or she is has to have that samatva. He needs to take whatever result that comes with the prasada buddhi. So that is a do, right? He has to do it that way. Whereas a jnani does not even need to do that. He's already purna. He is limitless ananda. So therefore, there is no will required. His will is complete. It has attained its perfection. So he does not need to say, oh, I have to maintain my antakarana shuddhi. He is already Satchidananda. He is above all this. He does not need to say, oh, I have to follow dharma, to do and not to do. I should not do adharmic. Anyway, he will not do adharmic activities. That is a given. But even though it might seem like he's doing something adharmic, he is not touched by it. I don't remember where, but I think again, I don't quite that the Charitra is coming back again. In that, I've not read it many once I read it, but then just correct me, maybe any of you who knows this, is the person is actually a womanizer. And this wife is serving this husband who is a womanizer. There's some such thing, right? And even Dattatreya is supposed to have
About Anasuya's story,
Anasuya's story is one.
no, she carries her husband in the, to take her to a prostitute's house.
Come again,
Why?
if you know,
She,
share it.
the wife, what happens, the husband, she takes him in a basket and takes him to the prostitute's house because he was.
No, not that that story is like that. He he dies and she also takes. Maybe because of the fire, some fire event happens. Then she takes sati there.
That's different. This is in Anasuya's story. It's different actually. She was a Mahapativrata, that lady, she was, and then her husband was not all right. But at the time of death also, he was having all sorts of illness because of this, And then still he was thinking about all this women. So she takes him to those women who used to visit. So this is Anasuya's story. So,
No, I'm not sure whether this is the one, but um, he is actually a jnani, but for the world, he appears as though he is a womanizer. So basically, okay, that's this. So basically saying, coming from the understanding that there is nothing for him, there is no bar, no restriction that there is to be done and not to be done.
So while doing any pravrutti also, with mind they remain nivrutta. They are not entangled by the whether it is done, who did it, why they did it, what they did it. They are not at all concerned. I have seen most of the Sadgurus, including Swami Tejomayananji, they are so innocent. They move as if it is a play. so much of compassion only from their eyes. Looking at them only, you feel like crying. I mean, although they remain active, they remain busy in the Loka Kalyana, as Maltiji rightly said, because their whole life, I mean, they are, uh, for them, all the, I feel sometimes like all the dukkhas of samsara, as if they have taken the responsibility and they want the all our we Sansaric people, they want us to be happy, including our Gurudev also. They want to bring smile on our face. So they remain active. Yeah, in pravrutti also, but they remain nivrutta. They are not bothered. And in nivrutti also, when they are meditating or when they are sleeping or whatever you call it as a nivrutti, they remain pravrutta in the Loka Kalyana.
Be beautiful.
Just a small story about Buddha when his own cousin had given him the through somebody through some his disciple only. I don't know exactly because it was not an authentic source. It was through the children's stories in Sanskrit I came to know that he was given a non-vegetarian food by his own cousin and his own his very close disciple, and he had fed him that non-veg food when he was and that was the last day for him. And and then they could see the pain in Buddha, and they could not bear the lie they had said. So he confessed, his cousin came and confessed that I did this heinous act of feeding you, please forgive me. And he said that no, no, it is not, you are just an instrument. You have not, it is not that because of you I'm going. My time has come, and now you take over the things, and you, this message and welfare of the people, you take responsibility. That will be the, I mean, to them also he was so compassionate. When we see even Jesus, all I mean, they are so compassionate that the one who did merciless act with them, for them also they have that samattva, they have no complaint.
So they feel that they know not what they do. He says, Jesus, if they do, if they have little knowledge, they'll not be doing this. Yeah.
That's why it is called Tasmai Kalaya Tasmai Namaha. Kal is very different. Because his time has come, the thing has happened like that. Maybe like this.
Yeah, it could be the prarabdha. That is why he had to go through that, whatever little prarabdha was left. So it can be explained in various ways. But then, bottom line is that, see, look at all the avatars. There is always some killing, right? Lord Narasimha killed whom? Killed Hiranyakashipu. So if you look at it, oh, he did such a heinous crime. He did such a heinous act as killing. But he did it for dharma samsthapanarthaya and paritranaya sadhuna. Similarly, if you look at all the avatars, there has been some destruction. Look at any avatara for that matter. Vamana, he destroyed the ego of Mahabali. But then it is done with that sense of non-doership. They have no will. They have completed their kritsna karma krit. They have done everything that is to be done. Moksha means the jiva is gone. Once self-knowledge is gained, the job of the wise person is over and there is no will left. It has all been used up. The will is useful only until moksha, just as one's checkbook is useful only as long as one's account is not closed. Once the account is closed, what is the use of the checks that you still have? They are useless. You can fill them out and give them to people, but they have no meaning. Similarly, when moksha is gained, the will is useless. The account is closed. The accountant has struck out the person's name with a red pen and has removed the file. One more jiva is gone, finished. And with this jiva goes everything else. Meaning that all the karma term deposits simply evaporate. There is no longer anyone to claim them. Just as when a person dies, his or her file is marked diseased. So too, the jiva's file is closed and dispensed with because there will be no further transactions or complications. No one else is going to claim the jiva's karma. It is all over. The file is shredded and burnt with no trace left behind. Therefore, the person is kritsna karma krit. Having gained moksha, the person has nothing more to do. Very nice analogy Swamiji is given in how the account, once you've finished, you've closed the account, and what is the use of the checkbooks you have? Same thing when a person dies. When they mark the whole file as diseased, the whole account is closed. Similarly, the sanchita karma gets completely evaporated, burnt like a seed. There is no more sanchita for this person to take birth. He gets out of the cycle of birth and death. So one jiva is gone. The jiva is only the jiva keeps continuing to take birth, right? As long as he's jiva. But once the jiva identifies himself as nothing other than Atma, Paramatma, the jivatva is gone. The jivo brahmaiva na para. He has become that aham brahmasmi state. So there is nothing to claim. The file is shredded and burnt with no trace left behind. There's no kartritva. And therefore no will. How objections are presented in Vedanta. I think this one, I will just read this part and then tomorrow we can continue. Here, there is one small but highly technical objection raised by Shankara. This objection is based on a somewhat different interpretation that is sometimes given to this verse. Objections are raised in various ways in Vedanta. Certain philosophies are presented as sparring partners for us, like the Sankhya and Vaisheshika schools of thought. There is also a person referred to as Purva Mimamsaka, who is a little more than a sparring partner. Mimamsa is the analysis of the sentences of the Vedas. The analysis of the sentences in the Purva Bhaga, that is the earlier portion of Karma Kanda, is called Purva Mimamsa, while the analysis of the sentences of the Uttara Bhaga, the later portion, which is Vedanta, is called Uttara Mimamsa. So Mimamsa is basically analysis. Then there are those who are not really sparring partners at all. They are opponents, like the Bauddhas and Jainas, who have their own philosophies and have to be answered. To understand what Vedanta is saying, we use all of these as sparring partners by analyzing their particular arguments. Some are permanent sparring partners, others are by invitation only, and with still others, we do shadow fighting. The philosophy of the Purva Mimamsaka is very simple. The Veda is eternal and is the final word in everything. According to the Purva Mimamsaka, the Veda enjoins you to do karma alone. For this person, knowledge is not moksha. Performing karma is the only way to gain moksha. Because the Purva Mimamsaka analyzes the pramana so well, we make use of his method of analysis in Vedanta. So we'll stop here. Be interesting to see how this argument and counter arguments come up and what Shankara's version of this interpretation of this verse is. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll stop here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. So, Bela, are you all right to sing that beautiful?
Yes, Brahmaraji. Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा अत्र वेदान्तमेव प्रमाणम् बोधक सद्गुरु तत्त्वनिष्ठः ईश्वरानुगृहीतेन वेद्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ज्ञानगम्यं तुरीयं हृदिस्थम् आत्मरूपं हि तत् येन ज्ञातम् सोऽध्वनः पारमाप्नोति सत्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ब्रह्मज्ञस्य तु ब्रह्मैव सर्वम् नास्ति मोहो भयं नैव दुःखम् तस्य स्वानन्दमग्नं हि चित्तम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ब्रह्मैव सत्यम्
Very beautiful, Bela. Jai Gurudev.